Hey friends, it's Nikki. I know, we're back here again. Basically, school started, and in order to get the videos that I want out, I'm going to have to film some on my phone so that I can edit while I'm on campus for 30,000 years. But it is October, one of the greatest months ever, if only because it's basically Halloween all month long. Also because it is Preptober, and if you don't know what Preptober is, it is the month before NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, which takes place in November, where tons and tons of people attempt to write a 50,000 word novel in 30 days. I've never won. I know I have mentioned before that I love to write. I have been doing it for my entire life. I really want to try out NaNoWriMo this year, if only to help me build up some sort of consistency. Will I write something original, or will I try to complete a 50,000 word fanfiction? I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how trash I'm feeling on November 1st. But I am taking the time to try to plot some sort of semblance of a novel to get ready to write it come November. Side note, if anybody else is doing NaNoWriMo, let me know. That would be dope if we could have like a booktube NaNoWriMo support group or something like that. That would be really cool. And so I decided that I'm going to try to anyway. We'll see how school works out for me, but I would like to have every Wednesday be a writing Wednesday. And I don't know if it's going to be actually physical writing so much as reading writing that I wrote when I was a kid / teenager. But either way, bad old writing. By the way, Isabel is here to join in the fun. Hello, Isabel. I cannot wait to kick ass with her in Super Smash Brothers. One of the first things that I wrote, I actually don't have anymore, but I wish I did because you could see how incredibly heavily influenced by Sailor Moon it was. So the earliest piece of writing that I have found so far is this. Sorry, Isabel. This is a file that my mom kept of a book. A book. I guess this would be enough for kind of a chapter book, I guess. I don't know. A book that I wrote when I was about 8, maybe. It was definitely influenced by Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume, and I called it Changes. So I thought that I would read to you at least the first chapter. I haven't looked this over yet. My mom handed this to me and I was like, cool, I'm not gonna read this because the secondhand embarrassment will kill me. It'll just kill me. But you know, what better way to actually read it than to do it on the internet? So I have no idea what I'm getting into. No sense of when to start a new paragraph, but I was 8, so I'm gonna give myself the credit there. Chapter 1, New Friends. I really hope this isn't terrible. 10-year-old Mariah Carson walked around in an empty room, but when she would move things in, it would be her bedroom. Ooh. She had just moved to New York from Mississippi. Okay, pause. Where did I get Mississippi from? The movers had been moving in Mariah's bedroom furniture when the doorbell rang. Mariah ran downstairs and opened the door. Stranger danger, you didn't even ask who it was. A girl with brown hair in a ponytail and glasses was at the door. Hi, she said. I can't help noticing that you just moved in. Yeah, Mariah said simply. She's like me, I'm not very good at conversation either. I'm Lizzie. Lizzie Schwartz, the girl said, introducing herself. Then she continued to speak. Listen, my friends are at my house. Want to go meet them? I live across the street from here. Mariah nodded. Let me go ask my mom. Mariah ran over to her mom and explained everything to her. Sure, she said. You didn't even look to see who this girl was. I don't know. This is the most lenient fictional mother ever. So Mariah ran back to Lizzie and told her yes. Then they went across the street. I'm Mariah Carson, Mariah said as they crossed the street. Nice name, Lizzie said as they reached the house. Mariah looked at the house. There on the porch were 2 girls. One had long brown hair and a ponytail. The other had short hair. That's it. That's the only distinguishing feature, was short. Lizzie sat down on the porch, so Mariah sat down too. Girls, this is Mariah, Lizzie said, pointing to Mariah. So much repetition. Hi, the other girls said. Mariah smiled and said hi. Now then, Mariah, this is Angela Smith, Lizzie said, pointing to the girl with the short hair. And this is Jamie Roberts. Definitely got that name from Barbie. If you don't know by now, I fucking love Barbie. Anyway, and this is Jamie Roberts, Lizzie said, pointing to the girl with the long hair. You know, my room hasn't been decorated yet. Want to help me unpack? Mariah offered. After the others looked at each other, they followed Mariah to her room. They helped Mariah, and soon it was really nice. That's it. It was just really nice. Thanks, Mariah said, and now I have new friends. You know, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. If anything, it was just a lot of repetition. Like, we have to be reminded every 3 seconds that the girl's name is Mariah, otherwise we are going to forget. And the utter lack of description. Short hair. They decorated it, and it was nice. I wonder if this is something that actually has still stuck with me, if I'm all that good at description, because I always feel like I'm struggling a little bit to not over-describe something, but also describe it well. But I mean, it's nice to look back and know that it's not something that just sprouted up in my insecurities out of the blue one day 3 years ago. Like, this is something I've always struggled with. So this doesn't look too bad. Hold on, wait a second. Okay, in chapter 2, the girls decide to make a club. This is something I was obsessed with doing when I was around elementary school age. I would just form a club with my girlfriends and we would just name it something ridiculous and cheesy and 90s-ish. So, what should we call it? Angela asked. There was silence as the girls thought. How about the AOAs? Jamie offered. I'm not gonna lie, when I read this over the first time, I thought that I was referencing the K-pop group AOA, and I was like, huh? Was the word that came out of Lizzie's mouth. Jamie sighed, like, stupid Lizzie, how could you not know what AOA stands for? It stands for Angels of America. I'm gonna scream. This is so mean. So, you know, then Angela suggests that they call themselves the Brats of New York, and Lizzie says that it's lame. In her face. Lame, Lizzie said into Angela's face. Rude. Rude. Who hurt these girls? They decide on a password, which they ultimately make girls rule, which was probably the password into all of my clubs as a 9-year-old. And they decide that they need to have ID bands to get into the club. You don't even have a clubhouse. I like, while they're deciding, I'm noticing a lot of like negotiation, and that's something that I've noticed kids do a lot because I was just recently hanging out with one of my cousins who is about 8 or 9 or so, and we were drawing together and painting together, and she asked me to paint something for her and I was, you know, working on my painting, and I'm like, oh, just telling her how to do it or whatever, and she just kind of like tried to negotiate with me, and she was like, well, how about you draw this for me and I'll help you with your painting. And I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, you can't say no to an 8-year-old. I don't know, it's kind of funny. Are all of the parents in this story incredibly lenient because they make their IDs, right? By now the sun was going down. It was getting later by the minute as the girls told spine-chilling stories. I guess I've always been obsessed with horror. There was a knock on the door. Mariah's mom opened the door. Bedtime, she said, yawning. Mariah frowned. Her mother must have noticed because she pointed to the clock. Mariah turned her head to it and so did her friends. 12:03 a.m. They're 10. Then Mariah proceeds to have a nightmare involving going down a like bright green path. Her friends are trying to talk to her, but she doesn't know she can't understand what they're saying. Like I've mentioned before, I've always been super into dreams. So I guess that was my attempt at dream interpretation, to like weave that into the story because it does come up later. Here's a little snippet from chapter 3. As the girls entered the mall, Lizzie gasped. What is it? Mariah asked quickly. It's Molly and Emily, Lizzie answered, clenching her teeth. Jamie and Angela let out a gasp of horror. Who? Mariah asked. Molly and Emily. They're the school snobs. They're the queens of gossip, Lizzie replied. The 4 friends kept on walking, hoping that Molly and Emily wouldn't notice them, but they did. Well, 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 if it isn't Lizzie the dork, Angela the geek, and Jamie the nerd. And who is this girl? Molly cooed. Lizzie grunted. This is our new friend Mariah. She just moved here from Mississippi, Lizzie said, trying to act nice. Mariah smiled. It's nice to meet you, she said. Molly smiled too. Nice to meet you too. I can see you've made new friends with the Nerd Patrol. She sneered. Mariah's smile turned to a frown as Molly laughed. Emily was too busy shopping to notice what was going on. They are not nerds, Mariah exclaimed. You go, girl. Everyone who could hear her stopped and looked at Mariah. The whole mall was into these girls' business. They're my friends. Oh my gosh. They're my friends, Miss Snooty Pants Dirtbag, Mariah continued. And if you have a problem with that, then you have a problem with making friends. And if you have a problem with making friends, just tell me and I'll introduce you to the pavement and my fist. Damn, girl, what the fuck? Then Mariah noticed everyone else. And what are you all looking at? The show is over. You know, repeating that line out loud just makes me think that I got it from a very specific episode of Hey Arnold. I'm pretty sure the episode where Arnold and Gerald date the 6th grade girls. There's like a fight or something towards the end of the episode, and one of the girls says, and what are you all looking at? The show's over. I won't forget because she had that accent. I'm pretty sure that's where I got that from. Okay, so all of the girls go shopping with the money that they somehow have at 10 years old, and they go try on their new clothes. Oh my gosh. They start labeling the bags of like their belongings and stuff, and Angela writes Lil Angel Angela on her bag. Oh my gosh, this is too much. I knew this was going to be nostalgic, but I didn't think this was going to also be nostalgic for cheesy late 90s, early 2000s stuff. I love this. Did you mean it when you said you would introduce her to your fist and even the pavement? Lizzie asked. You know, I think Lizzie would be the type of person to be kind of confrontational because she had no qualms with just straight up telling one of her closest friends that her idea was lame as shit to her face. So I feel like if anybody would be the one to be confrontational, it should have been Lizzie at the mall, but you know, you can't fault an 8-year-old's characterization. So I'm just flipping through this right now because this video is getting kind of long and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I just wanted to share this gem with you. This is a quote from Angela. And Emily's outfit was grossomatic. And I think that's a great place to end. Okay, so that is it for today's video. I think the first selection that I made to start this mini series sort of thing out with was not as cringeworthy as I thought it was going to be. I mean, that's great because, I mean, when you're 8, I feel like you have a certain sort of innocence to you, and anything that you might consider embarrassing is probably just going to be a little bit endearing because you know that a little kid wrote it. I'm sure that some of my later selections, including some fanfiction, because I love torturing myself, I'm going to read fanfiction, like including my fanfiction and some of the things that I wrote when I was around 13, 14, maybe even 15, were gonna be a little hard for me to get through without just straight up dying. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I cannot believe I'm about to say this. It feels a little bit weird coming out of my mouth, but if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, I guess. I'm trying to get used to this. I'm trying to get used to saying that. I hope to be posting more of these videos every Wednesday to do sort of like a writing Wednesday kind of thing leading up to November. Hopefully this will get me a little bit inspired. If you write, if you've been writing for a while, let me know what some of your most memorable, take that any way you will, stories you've written were. Let me know down in the comments below or on Twitter, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.